is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Alter Quest, which is the Sadler Brothers and Blacklist's newest game set in with their modular deck system. And
don't we just love it?
It's fantastic.
It's just great.
It's honestly one of the better systems out there. That combination of just having a variety of different decks just adds to almost unlimited replayability. That it's what games need. Like a big thing with board games for me is when I decide to keep it on my shelf is can I get this to the table and feel like I've had a different experience? Because I don't want to play something where it's like, man, I've done this before, you know? And none of their games will ever pertain to that. They might have like a similar feel, you know, just because like if we did the exact, like if we played this again with, you know, the search and then these two characters with the frocks and then
right, it'd be identical.
It would be identical. But even then, with Alter Quest specifically, the way that the feature cards come out and how you search around and the way that enemies come out will still give you a different feel. Slightly in that particular scenario. But what's great about their modular deck system is all you have to do here is take one deck out and replace it with something else. Oh, instead of the frocks, it's whoever, you know.
Yeah. The goat people.
The rats. There's like crows. Head crow guy.
The crow guy.
Or a different villain. It's just awesome.
Right. I do really enjoy their modular deck system. It does, it just really lends to the infinite replayability.
Yeah.
There's certain, now I've played them, I've played all three now. Do they only have the three?
They have the three right now. They have another one called, I think, Hour of Need, and it's Superheroes. Modular deck system. And they have another one called Dire Alliance, which I think is a horror system. They have one that they're working on with another game called Freedom 5. So Blacklist and the Sadler Brothers are now becoming, instead of Blacklist games making stuff, the Sadler Brothers are now becoming designers for other companies.
Oh, cool.
And they're collaborating. So
they're like, okay, first thing, modular deck system.
Here's our system. And I can see where people are like, all the games are the same. But it's like, they're not, though. Like, they do such a great job making their games thematic. Yeah, the mechanics are the same.
Right.
But I think that actually makes it kind of nice, because then you can buy a Blacklist game and be like, okay, I understand how to play, roughly. You know, I get this many actions. All the actions are pretty much the same move. You know, play a card or something like that.
Right.
With you know, a twist on it, you know. That I don't, it's not a negative for me in any way.
Yeah, and it's definitely like each character's unique. They get their own deck, different abilities. The enemies do. It's you know, it's pretty cool. I feel like there might be a complaint for some people is like a certain vagueness to the threats. Because I noticed, like, definitely in Brook City, I think more than this game, but I felt it a little bit this game because it's like you have to lend a lot to your imagination, like what exactly you're doing.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt that here. I'm searching for clues. I find ripped fabric to what? That just needs to go back to the altar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but I can see that certain vagueness that comes from the system.
Yeah, like I do feel like they do kind of, they don't give you a lot of theme. Like, they kind of do in here with the quest card, you know, the beginning setup of like, this one was like, hey, we're searching for the item that people... Like this one, the search quest was, there's rumors of a magical item. We're searching for clues that tell us basically where the altar is or how to get that item.
Yeah.
And then we proceed to the altar gives it to us, and then we have to escape.
Oh, it gives us the item, and then we escape.
That's what it thematically represents. Okay. That's how I took it anyway.
Right. And I'm saying that you have to put some imagination into it to kind of get an idea of why you're here and what you're doing. Yeah. Because definitely in Brook City, I was like, there was a certain vagueness that definitely... we're not talking about that.
Right. But well, we are going to compare the other two.
They're all very similar.
But yeah, I do agree with you there. I think that they could put a little bit more effort into giving you some, at least more thematic elements. But I will say that the game, unlike one of the other ones we also played tonight that was trash, this one at least gave you that ability to put in your own thematic ties.
Definitely.
Versus it just being so abstract that you're just like, the art's cool, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, their story cards do help out quite a bit. I mean, at least when they do come out, and they come out every round, you get to read a little snippet on what we're doing, what's going on. It's like, it's oppressive, you're tired. So, I mean, it helps kind of put you in that headspace.
Exactly, where it's not like, okay, we read the opening thing, and then we start playing the game, and we forget about what the opening thing told us.
Right.
It is a constant kind of thematic, flavor text, especially with Alter Quest. This one actually took me by surprise when Kat and I first played it, because unless I'm missing something, this game is a lot slower than the other two. Brook City, you have cars and you're driving around, high speed chase. There's crimes going off across the city.
Right, it's busy.
You have
You're
the main guy who's doing
I did not feel as stressed in this game. I felt like all the enemies were very manageable. I didn't feel like I got a pressure cooker like all those other games created.
Exactly.
Because like in Street Masters, it was like the enemies, like the mobs were tough.
It's constant, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, but your main focus is always the boss on the board, so you need to constantly be weakening him while these guys are just harrying you.
Exactly.
And this one, I'm just like, man, kill these guys. No guys right now.
But even
move on to
then,
the next room.
Yeah. I think this one is balanced too, going off what you said. Like you get to do, okay, I'm gonna drop this guy in one hit, but there were multiple times you were like 3 or 4 damage away from dying, and once any of us drop, that's it. You lose. I ended up with 9 health, and I only have 12, so I was 3 hit points away from dropping. So, and that's what I mean. Like you mentioned it, Brook City had that constant stress because you had to have the car to drive across the town. Street Masters was minion heavy, and it was a very small board. You just had that board.
Yeah.
But you also, I feel like in Street Masters, you get to feel more of a badass because you have all those tokens, those focus tokens that you got to spend to buff yourself.
Yeah.
And then you had your ultimate ability, So it made sense for that game too. Here, you don't have any of that. You do have a special ability as your character, and then you have your hand of cards. And what I like about this one is this one lets you be a little bit more free flowing with your cards. In I think Brook City and Street Masters, it was like, oh, you can only play one card,
Yeah.
And here it's
I think you could play multiples in Brook City. They had different types, right? I feel like I could. I might be wrong.
I don't remember, but I feel like the cards were very limited. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game that you can only play one card, and it was like, well, that's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, since they're all so similar, I think it's all pretty well roughly the same when it comes to your own character.
Or at least no, I know what it was. It's like a lot of those cards were action cards, so it took up your actions.
That's right.
Here, you at least have feats that are free. You have reactions that are also free. So I don't know. I feel like you can do a little bit more on your turn here than the other games. And you also start out with equipment, which is nice that your character has, and then I just think the movement is a little bit more. It's more free flowing, which I like. But
nice 3 spaces.
Yeah,
for each movement.
What makes the game slower feeling for me is the amount of minions that come out. Is once you reveal a room, you just draw 1 threat card.
Yeah. And
it's like, okay, that's the 1 minion that's in there. In this whole dungeon, there was only 1 minion in that room.
Yeah.
And when I first played it, I was like, that's a little odd. Because the rules allude to, like, if more minions spawn, like if one spawns here, and if another one, it goes adjacent to the spawn point. And I was like, okay, where are the other minions spawning from?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that it's mainly in a combination of like, okay, I reveal this room, I draw a threat, a Frox, whatever, that's another trap. But, a Frox guy comes out, and then the villain's card makes a lurker card come out. And so then, since I'm in this room, it would spawn next to it. So that's probably how more minions come out.
Gotcha. So what's like, what is like the time limiter? Is it the enemy deck, the boss coming out? Is that the big thing that we're worried about?
Like,
or is it mostly
something
that's stressing us, like time wise? Do we have anything like that besides the boss deck running out and then the boss comes in?
The boss is probably one of them. I feel like
say if we didn't move towards the main quest like we were doing, say if we could lollygagged and
we would probably die.
Yeah, like so you think it's the main.
You have I guess there's no real pressing thing except the fact of like essentially the inevitable death and probably monsters would swarm you. But it is kind of the player's goal to go for the quest.
Right.
Because eventually that we're going to be finding clue cards and then not being able to take focus, or you just wouldn't be progressing on the quest. So it's like, why are we playing? You know? But yeah, there's no really outside force that is like, okay, you have 20 rounds to be able to find the quest.
Because I remember, Brook City Street Masters, I definitely felt that time constraint. Because, one, you have to get the investigation correct. You have to go to the right place, the right time, all the while you're being harried by, lowlifes and criminals and whatnot. And then in Street Masters, you have the boss progressively getting more powerful.
Yeah.
As, he still has this mountain of health that you have to blow through.
Yeah.
And this one, I just didn't, I didn't feel like that big time limit.
This one has a really cool kind of exploration feel with the quest, but also it has that stress, but you don't feel it. Like you're sitting here, and I was at 9 health, and I was kind of like, well, but it was kind of towards the end.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sitting there at 9 health. I'm like, there's no way we're gonna find it. And even then, because you get to decide, like how you're exploring this map. And initially, I was thinking, I need to book it all the way back here because you're going to find the altar. Then I need to drop off my clues. Like, I thought you were going to search here, but then you're like, can we go up here? And I'm like, yes, we can! And then probably in this particular one, if we lollygagged and then,
because if we were way far away from the stairs, we would have been having a bad time.
Yeah, because in every quest, it's like, okay, everyone draws a threat. So now more monsters are spawning out. We have to reveal these rooms, so more monsters are spawning out. And then, they all go, and they all hit pretty hard.
Right.
Like, your abilities, like, I have one that's a 3. And a lot of those wasn't being used. My fortitude wasn't being used against their attacks. It was always might or agility. And so it's like, I'm rolling 2 dice. So I think the threat is that if you lollygag, eventually you're going to get whittled down enough that you'll just die.
Yeah.
And then you auto lose. But I think this one has a really good balance. You get to have those moments where you can one shot them. But then there's moments that the villains have where one, Froxling, their mage, had like 4 armor, and I had to spend like 2 rounds just whittling him down, trying to just kill him.
Right.
But I enjoy it. I think these 3D elements are a really nice touch. I like that they're applicable to like what they are and what they do, and then the quest applies to them as well. Especially in this one, we were searching through these to find the clues.
And that's true. Like, there's a different... We don't have to do the search. There's so many different other quest lines.
I think there's like... Oh, God. I got to grab the box real quick. There are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
Damn. Yeah.
10 different ones. And then the 2 campaigns that they have.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so the campaigns have like their own cards and then their own books on like reading things.
Cool.
With chapters and stuff. So it's interesting. Their games don't have a whole lot of content. I mean, Street Masters is easily their biggest one. They have a bunch of expansions for a lot of fighters, a lot of stages.
I mean, this type of game, it's so easy to expand.
Yeah.
You just create more decks. It's
yeah.
Like even business-minded, this is a good build.
Right?
I mean...
Yeah, it's really interesting with how much content there is, and even with the lack of content, because this game only has the one expansion, which is the Ruins of Arkenspire. But with their modular deck system, you have infinite replayability. You don't have to keep pumping in expansions to make more content. It is nice. I want more. I want expansions for Brook City.
Yeah.
I want expansions for Alter Quest to just add even more of that variety. But I also enjoy the fact what I do wish they would do. They did it with Street Masters because there's a compendium. There's actual. I want them to have backstory for their characters.
Yeah.
Like you asked me, why am I a bounty hunter horse? Like it would have been cool.
Just a little flavor text.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted.
Like even on the back of like this, just read that. Kind of like at least Brook City had that. Was on the back of their thing. It gave a little personality to them instead of me just being like, okay, I guess I'm a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
All right.
Horse bounty hunter.
It's cool. He's cool.
Horse the bounty hunter.
Yeah. What I really like about this one is their card play, because you can buff your card with alter dice, and make them a little bit more powerful.
Right.
But the enemies can do that as well if they're doing attack and the water's out. In this particular case, his scheme on the back was his activate was we either discard a focus or a supply. If he had a water one, we would have to do it. We have to discard a supply or suffer a damage. Oop. So they slowly dwindle down our supplies, and a lot of his stuff got rid of those. Mm-hmm. And just for fun, Devin and I brought in the villain at the end of the thing just to see if we could beat him. And yeah, we actually did pretty well. Yeah. But dice are always a thing. Rolling those 3 crits, I mean,
that was pretty sexy.
That's a very nice touch. I love exploding dice because it's like, yes.
Yeah, and these are nice dice. It's not like there's only one bad result, and that's the one focus. Yeah. And you can still turn that to success. It's always going to be one success almost.
And even if you fail, at least you get compensated. You at least get a focus.
Yeah.
For that.
That's the kind of dice that are nice.
Yeah,
nice
right.
Dice. We like nice dice.
Yeah. Now, there's 2 negatives I have with this game. One of them is minor. The other one is just really annoying. The first one is the game only comes with 5 dice. Mm-hmm. In a game that everyone rolls dice, the fact that they include as add-ons extra dice is extremely annoying. Mm. It's like, why don't you just provide more dice to your consumer?
You've already made it so modular. We're going to buy your expansions. You just give some goddamn dice.
Yeah. And they never have them in abundance because it's on Kickstarter, so now it's no one can find them.
Great.
So I've already seen 2 posts for people selling theirs, and everyone's like, hey, I'll take those dice.
I'll take the dice.
I'll take the dice. And no one splits it up.
Yeah, why would you?
And, I mean, I know they're eventually going to have a Blacklist online shop that'll probably have them, but this is one of the biggest issues with Kickstarter is that, I missed the add-on for extra dice. I didn't think I would need them. Now I do, and constantly where it's at least everyone's rolling, 3. Hey, can you pass me a die? It's like, imagine if we had Kat here, and then she's rolling dice, so then we're constantly passing shit. It's just extremely annoying. Luckily with Brook City and Street Masters, I was able to hook up with Brady to buy additional content from him. And I even messaged him for this game. I was like, hey, if you have any extras, here's what I'll buy extra dice. And he's like, no, the distributors have all their stuff. So he doesn't have anything on hand. So I have to just hope that someone is willing to probably split, with their dice pack.
Yeah.
So that's one negative. The other negative is this lurker deck.
Yeah.
I do not like this, actually. And I've mentioned this in my issue with Folklore. Especially when recording, I try to get everything out. I want it to be streamlined. And then even when we're playing just casually, like Kat and I were, it's just annoying to have to draw a card and be like, okay, didn't plan for that. Let me search through all these minis so I can pull that one. It was a gargoyle.
Right.
And then it's like it doesn't even really fit the theme.
Yeah, I guess they wanted to be also mix up the monsters a little so they're not the same beat, but at the same time, you gotta dig through that whole fucking box. There's a lot of minis.
There are a lot of minis, and I mean, it's easy enough that I'm able to bag them based off of their groups, but it's like, okay, well, which one has there's the gargoyle at the very bottom, so I have to fucking, drop them. This is probably the dice are annoying. That's probably an easy fix come down the road. This is actually, I think, just a bad design. I really don't like the lurker deck. I would have much rather had it because there's still a lot of threat cards in here. And it's like, I would have been perfectly fine with just having to draw more threats. Like having more of the theming. There's a Frox reference card, which I didn't do. Gotcha. So yeah. I mean, yeah. Those are essentially my two negatives.
Yeah.
With the game. I don't know. So in comparison, out of Alter Quest, Street Masters, and Brook City, how would you rank them so far?
Brook City's theme was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had a lot of I felt like I complained about the vagueness, but I just had a good time just imagining with that one. And I love the characters. I love all your cops.
I was easily Will Smith. And
yeah,
you were probably Gary Busey, or you were a reference to someone.
Fuck, I was.
Yeah, and then we had Guy Fieri.
Yeah, Guy Fieri
smuggling drugs between his restaurants.
That's so delicious. Yeah, that one. Honestly, I think is my favorite of the three so far. I did like this one. I mean, Street Masters was a blast. Honestly, despite I love the fantasy theme.
Yeah.
I like this build.
Kat said the same thing.
Yeah. I like them all, but yeah, I think this one's I think it's Brook City, Street Masters, this game. Ultra Quest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is actually the last one out of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. I still really enjoyed it. I enjoyed not being stressed.
Yeah.
But I'm that stress certainly led to more of a feeling of accomplishment. I guess maybe it was just the quest that we did.
Yeah.
Or maybe we just did really well.
Yep. I will say there was actually
but feeling like you're failing the whole time, and then when you finally get to the end, you just succeed, or you get it's in crunch, and you play that right card.
Yeah.
It's just nice to win.
I will say there was actually one card that got shuffled into the Frox deck, so they actually use threat tokens. So this is interesting. This actually, I don't think we would have died. I think we still would have been fine, but their threat tokens represent the poisonous sludge-like substance that Frox use to subdue their foes. Each time a character suffers damage from a threat card's inflict test, that character gains one threat token.
Oh.
Each time a character with threat tokens would heal damage, they instead discard one threat token for damage that would be healed.
Oh, that would have sucked.
That would have sucked.
Okay.
So
maybe that was the stress that we were missing. Oh, okay. Whoops.
So it did actually. So that it's because that's the thing is they're that's kind of a design problem. Is their reference card looks the exact same as their regular deck, so it's you take it, you just shuffle it.
Right.
So this actually would have been out, and we probably would have been trying to focus on healing more. But we did have a lot of supply by the end of it. We could have easily.
I healed a bunch, but all those little ones would have been removing those. I may have had a few more.
Yeah.
And then I got that huge armor swarm that could have just used the heal.
Yeah. So
I only used all of it to faux fight our boss.
Right.
So.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. You spend all of it to take the brunt of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in my ranking, I think I'm gonna go with Street Masters. This one, Brook City.
Yeah.
Brook City. The car thing was just really fiddly.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And while the beat cop kind of B movie thing is fantastic, they're all fantastic. Like when we're ranking them, it's basically like. Okay, there's a 9.5, 9, 8.5. You know,
right.
They're so close in ranking. But I like the fantasy theme. I like the sense of exploration here. I like the use of characters, and the altar die I think is really cool. So they're all great. I cannot wait for Hour of Need and their horror one, Dire Alliance. I think it's gonna be cool. So yeah, and this one actually has quests. The other one, I think Street Masters has like personal stories for each of the heroes.
Gotcha.
But that is also their biggest game. Yeah, they're all fantastic. But it is good to know that there is actually a reference thing for threat tokens, because I know you got hit quite a bit from Inflict.
Yeah.
And I got hit a few times.
Yeah, so these guys' threat tokens really sucked. These guys are a lot more dangerous now.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Right.
Let's see here. I got hit by a frog like one, not too many times. I didn't really get hit.
Most
of my damage was coming from the AoE nonsense.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So,
yeah, the bulks when he's just shitting. I do think
shit.
the villain is an interesting mechanic, because so essentially you have Street Masters where it's like you have your villain, you have the equipment, and you have the area. And then here it's I think you have a lot more decks. You have yours, you have the quest, you have the threat, and you have the villain. So you have 4 total decks that can be modular. But I think the villain is interesting because it's like he has a presence, but you can't actually confront him until his cards run out.
Yeah.
And then you can fight him.
Yeah, and by then it's like you took too long, and
right.
I mean, they made him powerful on purpose.
Yeah, 18 health in a 2-player game, and then he attacks everyone in the room for 7.
Damn.
Oh, and then if you suffer damage from that, So you only ever gain one threat token. It's not per damage you take, which is nice. So yeah, then he would have fucked us up. So yeah, I enjoy this one quite a bit. Definitely a different feel. I think you can own all of them and not worry about, oh, is the MDS, is it actually the same game just rethemed? It's like, no. It plays the mechanics are the same, but they play different, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? No. Anything that you wanted to add?
I think I'm good. It's a fun game.
Cool. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10.
I think I will give it an 8.
An 8?
I feel like an 8 is very good. I'm like, it's fun. I would play it again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I can't really stretch to give it like a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't think it's like way up there, but it's definitely a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think I'm going to give it an 8 as well. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I can't really see a 9. And definitely not a 10.
Yeah, it's not like I'm like, oh yes,
right.
But it's like, oh yeah, I would play this. Yeah, let's play.
You get to have a fun time. Each of their games make you feel like a badass within the world, so which is fantastic. So yeah, I agree with you. 8 out of 10.
Cool.
So that's our thoughts on Alter Quest. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.